I have autism, and one of my traits is I tend to use food to stim, um, and it sort of just helps relieve anxiety, and it's also just a way to fidget. One of my like obsessions is I get like little clementines, and I like to take each wedge and peel the skin off of it, and then I eat each individual vesicle, like one by one. So it usually takes me like an hour to eat one, like tangerine or clementine. I also have like a different way of eating boba where I eat each ball individually. Um, and I like to eat frozen peas and essentially do the same thing where I peel it and then eat each half of the pea one at a time. So I'll take like a bowl this big and just eat that for like an hour. I tend to just do this with like fruit. So like raspberries, I'll eat each individual little like section of the raspberry, like each individual vesicle, one by one. Um, and I also like pomegranates, and where I eat the flesh and like spit out the seeds. I really don't like to eat seeds of things, so it's just like a way to fidget and also just prevent me from like using food as a distraction when I'm bored. And I'm kind of just always fidgeting, and this is like one of the ways for me to be less destructive in how I fidget. Oh, hi, sir. Um, cuz like especially when I'm in lab because I can't be eating food or like chewing gum or anything. Okay. Um sorry, distracted. In lab, I will essentially fidget by like licking my lips or like biting the inside of my cheek or tongue. And yeah, because I'm wearing gloves and I can't really fidget elsewhere. But this can be obviously not the greatest. So when I'm able to eat food, I do enjoy like using that as a stimming mechanism. And the weird like sensory foods are just a typical trait. Um, Obviously not everyone with autism has this, but yeah, it is a trend in the community. I've heard the frozen peas one from like other people as well, which is interesting. I've been doing this since I was like a wee child, like as long as I can remember. But yeah, I mean, there's no harm to it. Just a fun way to stim and not overeat. And obviously, I don't mean to call this like a weird habit. It's just like a little quirk, and I thought I would share to sort of destigmatize and also just share examples of how autism can present, especially in the higher masking individuals. I was only diagnosed recently, and I definitely, it didn't occur to me like earlier in my life, up until the past few years. But it makes everything make a lot more sense. Um, and I think especially females can present a lot differently than what the doctors tend to look for, because this is all just based on trying to diagnose. It's usually for like young boys. So, yeah, I think it's always good to educate yourself on how different people present. And if that's something you're interested in pursuing, it can be helpful. So you have like a list of things that are also just associated with it, so you can talk about it and bring it up with the doctor or psychiatrist.